Chef Dodds. So I'm a volunteer driver and duty officer for CARE. I'm also on the committee and have responsibility for publicity. And that's a fairly recent involvement. We are a small local charity. We operate just in the KT13 postcode, and we drive clients from that area to mainly medical appointments, but also things like shopping or hairdressing, that kind of anything that's essential if they can't drive themselves. Mostly older people, but there are people who are equally younger and unable to drive for whatever reason. So we'll do pretty much anything. So we have a good bank of volunteer drivers and a bank of duty officers who work from 9 to 12 on Monday to Friday, manning the phones. But like a lot of organisations, we always need new volunteers. So we're working hard at the moment to find new volunteer drivers and volunteer duty officers. The drivers, what I would say to people who are thinking about driving is that it's an incredibly flexible way of volunteering, because all that happens is that a duty officer will call you up on an as-needs basis and will say, are you available to do this job on this particular day? If you are available, you can say yes. If you're not available, or you just don't want to do it, that's absolutely fine. So there's no commitment, no obligation up front. As a duty officer, we ask duty officers to sign up maybe once a month or twice a month if they can do it. It could be once every 2 or 3 months, to work 9 to 12 in the morning, answering the mobile phone, arranging drivers, and then making sure that they turn up on time and so on. So it's no real obligation. You can change the dates if you happen to be away, so it's a very easy thing to volunteer for. Well, we've used all sorts of local media to help us recruit volunteers. We've been to the Weybridge Fair. A lot of it is by word of mouth. People hear about CARE and recommend it to their friends. So all sorts of ways of doing it. People are very busy these days, so it's not easy to get volunteers, but we work quite hard at it. So what I would say to a potential volunteer, people who are thinking about volunteering for either driving or duty officer role, is that it's more than just a driving job. It's more than a telephone job. You get a lot of personal satisfaction out of doing the job. You meet some really interesting people. You have some really interesting conversations, and you get a real sense of well-being from the appreciation that people have for the service we offer. So there's a lot in it for the volunteers, I think.
Oh, Kathy Clark. In CARE, well, I started off as a driver. I answered an advertisement that came through the door, actually, and as a driver. And then as I got to know more people, I volunteered that I would also do some duty officer work, which is what I'm doing today. As a duty officer, we man people the phones from between 9 and 12, during which time people can call in who need a drive to an appointment. So it can be very local for a local health centre, it can be a bit further afield to a hospital, and even just sometimes, down to Guildford or something like that. We take the appointments, we take the details of their appointment, and then at the end of the morning we use our log of drivers and we phone round to get drivers for each appointment. And then we have to phone the client back to say, yes, I've got you a driver, and the driver will be coming at this time and is this person. I was at that stage in my life. I saw the ad. I had just retired officially. I wanted to do some work with people, so I answered the ad. I spoke to a couple of people It gives me great flexibility. I can pick and choose what I do. There's no compulsion to do so much every week. You sign up for what you can do, even to the point that in the very rare circumstances when you have to, suddenly something comes up, there's somebody usually you can jump in, but that hardly ever happens anyway, because once we're down to do something. Duty officer, I think you've got to be quite organised. It's very systematic, so there's several things you have to do. It's manual, so you have to note things in different places. I think you have to be a good listener precisely to what people want, and reassuring. Sometimes people are a little worried that you won't be able to get them a driver. You have to be reassuring that you won't be. I've met loads of people through it, and loads of different people. Very different from the job I did full time. I've been in education all my life, but this needs a different skill set. I meet all sorts of different people, from the team on care itself, who I'm getting to know much better than I did, say, a year ago when I signed up, and they know me, to the people that you actually drive, the clients that you drive, who are always glad of the conversation in the car, have always got things to tell you, and are often interested in what you're doing too. And always grateful. They are so grateful. It's always uplifting doing a run.
Would you recommend this job to another volunteer?
Absolutely. Because of the flexibility, because it gives you so much back. So uplifting. Absolutely I would. Because you don't have to commit over and above what you can really cope with.
Hello, my name's Letitia Rogers. My role for Care in Weybridge is I am one of their volunteer drivers. I get a phone call every now and again from one of the duty officers saying that they've had a client needing a lift to Weybridge Hospital, to wherever, on such and such a date at such and such a time, asking me if I'm available to give them the lift. If I can, I'll check my diary and say yes or no. If I can't, that's not a problem. There's lots of other drivers that they will phone after me. If I can do it, then they will then email me or text me the postcode of the client, the name and the pickup time. All my experiences have been wonderful. The clients are so grateful. They come out, they always are very, very thankful, and quite quickly we get repeat customers and they become friends. I don't think of them as customers, I think of them as friends, and I ask about their families and they ask about mine. I love it. I really enjoy it. I'm learning and I'm meeting fascinating people. It makes me feel good. It makes them feel good, and I hope that when I get to their sort of age that there is an organisation like Care in Weybridge that I'll get to use. I say to anybody, all my friends, if they have any spare time, that they should definitely volunteer, because it's a great organisation.
My name's Chris Foote, but most people know me by my nickname of Spike. I'm a volunteer driver with Care in Weybridge. I've been doing it now for about 14 months. Very interesting experience. Before that, I used Care as a client. I had my cataracts done year before last, so I used Care to take me for operations and checkups and things. So I've seen both sides of the counter, if you like, both as a client, as a driver. to a person, every single client is extraordinarily grateful for what we do and for what Care in Weybridge can offer them. I mean, we do try and go out of our way, you know, not only trips to hospitals and doctors' appointments, but I've taken people shopping, went to Curry's looking at fridge freezers for somebody who needed a hand with such things. But yeah, clients are brilliant and very grateful to what we do. Well, what I get from the job is meeting people. I mean, now I'm retired, obviously don't get to meet an awful lot of people, but what I get from it is meeting new people, meeting interesting people, but more importantly, it's giving back to a charity that I've taken so much out of. You know, I've made use of the service, and my late mother years ago used to use them. So it's giving back to society. That's my main. That's the main reason I do it. The strength of this particular job is that you can do as much or as little as you like. As I mentioned before, when a job comes in, duty officer will check to see whether you're available, and if you're available, then then it's good to do the job. But literally, you can do as many or as few jobs as you like. So there's no great time constraint on it. It can fit in with you can fit it in around real life.